Are you ready to do another Around the House Declutter? Hi guys, welcome to my channel. I'm Melinda, plain and simple. I've been gathering some things from around my house and I did a little intentional decluttering as well. So I'm going to show you what I found that I am ready to let go of, and maybe while I'm telling you about that, you can go around your house and find some things that you are ready to let go of, or you can do it after this video if you'd rather. So hopefully either way you get some inspiration. Maybe you'll think of some things that you hadn't thought of before, or maybe not. Either way, let's get started. Well, first off, I found in my kitchen a few items, including these pot holders. I got some new ones, and so I don't need to keep these anymore. And also I've had these oven mitts for years and I haven't used them. I have another oven mitt and I usually pull that one out and use it. And so I tried them to see which one felt the most comfortable, and the other one that I use all the time feels more comfortable. Maybe that's why I pulled that one out. But I don't know that I've ever used these. I think maybe I got them as a set. I don't know. I don't remember, but I have had them a long time. And, you know, in case you need two oven mitts for pulling things out, I've always kept them, but I really never have needed to have two. So I'm just going to go ahead and let them go. It's been years. It's time. So those are going. And then I also decided to let go of this little pot and a lid. I don't know that I've ever used this. It came with my set and I've had them for years. And I've actually had them so long that my bigger pot and my small skillet, those are the two things that I use most often. And they are starting to be, show some wear in them. And from what I understand, you're supposed to let them go once they start doing that so that those little particles don't come off in your foods and things. And so I have taken those out of my main cabinet and put them in another spot, and kind of like as Dawn from the Minimal Mom calls it, a time will tell. So I put them out. I put them in a timeout basically. And so I'm going to see if I actually need them before I let them go. And I have a couple of other things in my kitchen as well that I'm kind of debating on whether I'll keep them or not. So I'll just save those for another video. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and let this pot go. I think this came with my cookware. I'm not positive though, and I have never used it. Let's see if I can get it out. It is one of those things. I think it's like a steamer thing, but I never use it. And so, I thought, well, that'd be handy. But, I've said before, I'm not really a cook, and so, I'm just going to go ahead and pass that along too. I don't need to keep it if I'm not going to use it, right? And I've made do all this time, so we're fine. Another thing that I found in my kitchen was the spoon rest. And in my last video, I let go of a bunch of Tupperware gadgets. This was in a different place though, because this is something that I thought I would pull out more often than I ended up doing. I think I've pulled it out twice. And so I decided I'm just going to let it go, because normally when I need a spoon rest, I just grab a plate, a small plate, and use that. So that's fine, and I don't need to keep that. I also have a couple of spoons, and I bought these intentionally. I have our silverware set, but I bought these intentionally to use for the wet cat food. And PJ is not allowed to have it anymore. She has to have the medicated food, and we get her the dry. And Pumpkin eats the dry as well, but he needs to have the wet food. He was getting really angry, mean, tempered, and stuff like that, which was not in his nature. So we realized that he needs to have some of the wet food. But the other day, I don't know, I couldn't find the spoon that I usually use. I didn't even go over, bother to grab out the other one, but I couldn't find the spoon. I don't know where it was, but I couldn't find it. Maybe it was in the drain stuff or something, and like drying. But anyway, I grabbed a fork, and I got his food out with that, and I'm like, that worked so much better, and it cleaned up more easily. So I decided I don't need to keep these two spoons. I'm going to start using a fork for that purpose. So those are going to go. And then I looked in my refrigerator, and somebody gave us some chocolate candy or something a few years back for Christmas. And honestly, I don't even know how long ago it was. It may have been before the pandemic, frankly. This has been in my refrigerator for a long time. And so I looked down in it, and all of the candy's gone, finally. It took like years for all the candy to get gone. It was a kind that I don't like, so it lasted a while. Because I like chocolate, but I'm real picky. And so Randy ate it, and he doesn't eat that much. He eats stuff, but he eats like cupcakes and that sort of stuff. He's more that direction, and I'm more like, give me a Butterfinger, so I'm more like that. So anyway, like I don't like fancy chocolates, just like a Butterfinger's good. But anyway, I looked in the bag, and it just had like ketchup packets, 3 ketchup packets, and then there were 3 of these little candy canes. And I don't know how long these have been in there, but I decided that's coming out of my refrigerator. I'm tired of it sitting in there. Look, that's taking up space, and it looks dirty inside too, so it needs to go. I don't like it. It's gone. Okay, and I'm letting that bag go too, by the way. And then I looked in my drawers. Since I found all that stuff, I thought, well, I'm going to look in my drawers too. And I found some of these things. Plasticware, and like we don't really eat out a ton, but when we do, it's usually we get it and bring it home, but not always. And so somehow though we end up with these things all the time, extras. And I only keep a couple. I keep 2 forks, 2 spoons, and 2 knives, and that's in case we do actually decide to do like a little picnic or something. I have it for that. But somehow or other, even though we don't really eat out a whole lot anymore, we end up with these. So like they take up space. They're gone out of here. And I forgot to look in my bread bin, but I'm sure I have some of those little twist tie things. If you have those, also look in your drawer and see if you have any of those that you don't need. We usually just keep like a half a dozen, and all the rest I toss them now. I used to keep them all. And I probably had hundreds. And then when I started decluttering, I started thinking, why? Like we get them all the time, and we don't really use that many. So anyway, I don't know why we keep stuff like that, but people, we do. I don't anymore, but if you still are keeping those, think about it and think, how many do you really need? And if you're not comfortable with letting them go yet, just put them in a baggie or a container and put them somewhere else where you won't forget about them, and then see if you're actually going to need them. Just keep like a handful, maybe depending on what your needs. I mean, if you've got 12 kids and you need to use 12 every day, you might need 100. But if you hardly ever use them, then maybe half a dozen would work, So it just depends. It depends on your needs. In the cabinet where I keep our medicines, I had a pill bottle. It's empty, and so I'm going to go ahead and let that go. I asked Randy. He does not need that for his sciencey stuff, so... and I guess he doesn't need it to put nails in or anything either. I like Butterfingers most of the time. If I want something, it's a Butterfinger. But about a month ago, maybe, or 3 weeks ago, I decided I wanted Tootsie Rolls. So Randy got me some Tootsie Rolls, and they're gone. And I decided I don't need to keep the container, but I am going to put it in a driveway giveaway or something because it can be a little bank. I have a very small purse, and I don't usually have extra things in it, but I noticed that there were a few things in it, and I'm like, what is all this stuff in my purse? It needs to come out. So I found a paper towel and a napkin. And I found this is a birthday invitation. I won't flip it around because it's got somebody's name on it, but a birthday invitation, and I had that because it had the address on it and the time, and I didn't want to, like in the phone number in case I needed to call or anything. I had that with me, so that was still in my purse. And then I went to lunch with a friend on March the 10th, and this receipt was still in my purse. So that needed to come out. And let's see. Oh, and then we got our new insurance cards. And so I took my old one out, so I have that here. So those things are all, they all came out of my purse. That's all going. I have this neck thing that I've often used. You can heat them up or you can put them in the freezer. And I used this one for heating up. And I use it for when I would have problems with my neck, because sometimes that's the only way I can get it to kind of go away. So, but it is getting pretty ratty. So I'm just going to go ahead and let it go. Then I also have a lot of books. A lot of you know that I have a lot of books, and I had a lot more books, but I have decluttered a bunch. And now whenever I read the books, I let them go rather than keeping them. And so I kept books so that I would have books to read, and I'm trying to make a point to read some of them. So I have a few of them here. See, some of these came from like half price books or something. This one still has the price tag on it. I don't take price tags off of stuff. This one is called The Wisdom of Jesus, and I couldn't even tell you when I bought this. Had it for years. We used to go to the half price bookstore every weekend. Before the pandemic, we went every single weekend, and I would come home with bunches of books because I just love books, right? And so that's where that one came from, and I'm just now reading it. So, and I don't know how long ago I bought it. Sometimes I will find a receipt in a book that I've had for a while, and it will be like, wow, I've had this since like 2007, you know, or I've had this since the 1990s, and I hadn't read it yet. So, I'm not one of those people that you can say, well, if you haven't read it in a year, or if you haven't worn it in a year, then you might as well let it go because you're not going to. That's not really true for me, because I do wear things that I haven't worn in a while, or have never worn, but then all of a sudden I'm wearing it. And I do have books that I have had for years, and I'm just now getting around to reading it. But I've also found books that I let go of a lot of them. Books that I had bought, and at the time I wanted to read them, but then by the time I got around to the decluttering process, I realized that I didn't really have that desire to read the certain books anymore. So I decided to just go ahead and let those go. And the ones that I've kept are the ones that I thought I might still be interested in. Every once in a while I pull one out and I'm like, yeah, I'm still not interested. I'm not interested in that either. Or I'll start reading it and go, it's not that good. So anyway, that has nothing to do with any of these books. I'm just saying. Let's see. You learn a lot about yourself when you're decluttering. Seriously, you really do. If you haven't started yet, start trying to do it. And if you have any questions, ask in the comments, because I can maybe have an answer, or somebody else might be reading the comments and they may have some bit of advice or inspiration for you that might help you out a little bit. This one is called God is Good, Y'all. I thought it would be interesting because I grew up hearing a lot of these phrases like 2 peas in a pod, and oh my stars, over yonder. Now one I had never heard until I was in my 50s, and I was working, and one of the people where I worked at, her and her husband, they would always say, I love you like biscuits and gravy. I'd never heard that phrase before, but apparently that's a Southern phrase. So anyway, that's the reason I bought the book, just because it had all these phrases in it, and I thought it would be interesting to see what, how they tied those phrases in. So that's why I bought that book. This one, I don't know, it was 50 cents. It was probably a half price books in the clearance section. It's called Scary Spring by C.A. Hartnell, and it's Scary Spring, Our Polio Fright of 1955. I wanted to find out if she got polio, so I finished reading the book, and it wasn't until the next to the last chapter that I got my answer. So either that or the last chapter, but anyways. And then there was this one, and it's called The Heavenly Village. I like angel stories, and I thought, maybe it would be, I thought maybe it would have something to do with angels or something. I used to I collected angel dolls and stuff like that. I had all that kind of angel stuff. But I don't collect that stuff anymore. This one was recommended to me by my friend Jen from Live, Laugh, Love with Jen. This is somebody that actually she went to school with, and he wrote it. His name's Hugh Finch. And it's called Arctic Revelation. It's a kind of like a thriller, I guess. More of a novel, more for grown-up than for young kids. I also had a bunch of stuff that I needed to put away, things that went into my linen closet. And so I needed to put a few things away, so I had to get the stepladder. And so while I was up there with the stepladder putting the things away, I thought, well, I'm just going to look in the bins and see if there's anything up here that I'm not using, and I can go ahead and let go of. Now, one thing I found up there, I don't know if I found it or if Randy just got this. This might have been part of what we just got. But it was 3 things of Crest were in here. And so rather than keeping them in the box, because I needed to use one of them anyway, rather than keeping the box, I just put them into my container where I keep that, and I'm letting the box go. So that way that space is not taken up. So I have a place where I can keep my extras in case we do that. And then I also have a 4-pack of Dove. I haven't even opened it. I have been for a while now. It seems like I just itch. Things make me itch, and so I've had to change a lot of stuff. I've had to change my shampoos. I've had to change my soaps. I've had to change everything. And so I've tried several times to go back to the Dove, and it's just not working. And so I thought, rather than just leaving these up in my shelf, maybe somebody can use them, and then down the road, maybe if I want to try again, I can get a bar and try it again. But, you know, I finally decided to just let that go. There's no reason for me to just keep it up in my closet forever. So that can go. And I bought this a while back. My friend Diana from Diana Simplifies, she had shown this a couple of years ago. She showed this on her video that she was using it, and she really liked it. And I had thought about getting it, but she really liked it, so I thought, well, I'm going to try it. And I got it, and I tried it a couple times, but it made my face break out. So I'm just going to let it go. I'm not going to use it. And then I also had this Rose Petals Rose Water Facial Toner. And this also makes me break out and itch. And so does this Dr. Teal's. So I don't use that either. And I had Witch Hazel. Dr. Teal's Witch Hazel Facial Toner. Also breaks me break out. And let's see what else. Okay, and then I had some jojoba beads body soap. I don't know if somebody gave this to us or me or something, maybe for a Christmas present or something. I don't think I bought it. It's from Bath and Body Works. And I never go to Bath and Body Works. I don't even know if that's still around, to be honest. So I'm thinking somebody probably gave it to me, and I've never used it, and it's been up there for years, so it can go. CeraVe Hydrating Facial Cleanser, also going. And then I have some Pond's Dry Skin Cream Facial Moisturizer. I don't have dry skin, so somebody gave this to me. It's going. And also some Dove Dermacare Scalp Dryness and Itch Relief Anti-Dandruff Shampoo. That's going. And I also tried Suave. When I was trying to find a shampoo to replace my other shampoo that they changed the formula in, I ended up having to buy bunches and bunches of shampoos, and then I can't use them. So this one is Suave Up the Volume, the shampoo and the conditioner. And then, this was from the dentist. This was actually last year when I went to the dentist. They gave me this Sensodyne Pro Enamel Active Shield, some kind of toothpaste. I guess it was a sample. I don't know. Apparently I didn't like it because I didn't remember I had it, and I pulled it out and let it go. I do not like Colgate. This is the toothpaste that they give at my dentist's office when you get your teeth cleaned. And so this time when I went in, I told the girl, I said, I don't like the Colgate. So when I was leaving, she didn't give me the toothpaste. She said, do you want the toothpaste? And I said, no, because I'm just going to give it away anyway. Which if she'd have given it to me, I would just be doing this. I would be giving it away. But this is from the last time, not this past time. And then also, though, she did give me the toothbrush. And so I opened the toothbrush because I needed a new toothbrush. And so I opened the toothbrush to use it. And it tasted like plasticky, and I was like, yeah, I'm not going to do that every time I brush my teeth. I do not want the plastic taste in my mouth. And so I put that toothbrush over with the cleaning, the ones I'll use for cleaning. And when I was going through the linen closet, I found this one. This must have been from the last time, and I hadn't used it. And so I'm just going to give this one away, and it's not opened or anything. So I'm going to go ahead and give this one away because it's just like the one they gave me that tastes like plastic. So ugh, I don't like that. And also I have some that stuff you clean your glasses with. This is a small bottle. It came from my eye doctor. And so I have like 3 or 4. I don't need it. So I'm going to go ahead and let that go. And then over here, I have a couple of other things. I have been working on my writing. You know, I told you when I was downstairs and I was doing, I'm very hot. It is like almost 90 today. It's almost 100, feels like. I have the air conditioner on, but for some reason I'm hot. And so if I look like I'm sweating, it's because I am. And I'm past the menopause thing, so it's not that. I'm just hot for some reason. So anyway, I have been working on my writing, which is what I told you guys I was going to do. And so the day of or the day after I did the declutter and reorganizing down there in my writing things, I actually did write a little story. And then I've worked on it since then to, you know, just you write it and then you kind of tweak it a little bit and get it how you want it. So I have been using my little photo albums that I have. And this is the one that I wrote. Yeah, this is the one that I wrote the day after that. And then I wrote another one. And then I pulled out the one I wrote in 2007, but I have been wanting to tweak it and revise it, and I've tried and tried and tried ever since 2007, and I just have not been able to get it how I want it. And I think because I was doing the poems for decluttering for so long, and I think that helped me as a writer. This one, the other two do rhyme. This one does not rhyme, but it helped me as a writer to see, and or I don't know, it helped. I just knew it helped me somehow, and I was ready to go back and try. After I got them kind of how I wanted them, I put them aside for probably a month, and then I pulled them back out a day or two ago, and I read them again, and I was very happy. The first these two I'm very happy with, and this one I just made a couple of more changes, so I'm going to set them aside again. And then I'm going to go back to it and make sure I still like it. And if I do, then I'm going to start doing my illustrations. So very happy about that. So that's my next phase of my stuff that I'm doing. Meanwhile, in the process of all of that, I ended up with some clutter. So what I want to do when I'm working on my writing, in the past I would have just kept everything. I would have left everything and all that. So now what I'm trying to do is not keep everything. And so when I finished up and I wanted to put my prototypes, when I wanted to put them aside for a rest, I went through the materials that I had accumulated. And so I have all of these little pieces that I had cut out, because as I was working on it, I would write my lines on here, or, you know, my pages, and that way I could change. I could put them on what page I wanted. I could see how I wanted it laid out. I could rewrite lines if I wanted to. So I ended up with quite a bit of that. So all of that is going to get shredded. It's not going to get kept. It's getting shredded. And then I also, I don't know where this came from. this is just some piece of paper I found, and it just needs to go in the shred bin. But I also had some pages that I was writing on. So just writing ideas and stuff, and writing out my story. You know, before I got to this phase, I had to do all this stuff. But I also went through the wire paper, you know, those paper things, you know, that have the wire there. And so I went through, I had several that I had kept because they had some stuff written in them, but they had blank paper in them. And so I went through and checked to see if there was anything that I actually still needed to keep from, you know, whenever it was written. If not, I tore it out. And then what I got down to was if I needed to keep something, and also blank paper. And so now when I need to scribble out these ideas, I go over and I grab one of those little folder things or little paper things that has a little bit of paper. So meanwhile, I have now all this paper also that I am going to be shredding rather than keeping. And that's the important part of this. You know, it's like, I mean, if you typically let go of that sort of stuff, it's not a big deal to you. You're like, why are you telling me that? And the reason I'm telling you that is because in case you are one of those people who doesn't do that. Because I didn't do that. I would keep it all. And I would never take the time to go back through. And then whenever I do take time away from it, and then I go back, then I have all this clutter in the way. And I either have to take a long time to find what I'm looking for, or I don't even know where it is, or if it even exists. And I just have a bunch of stuff, and it's like clutter around your house. When you have too much clutter around your house, you can't find what you really need. It's the same thing with my writing. If I have too much of that stuff cluttering up my space, I can't find what I'm looking for. Or I lose it. I lose things a lot, especially like lists and things. I'm real bad about that. Another thing that I am letting go of is this insert that was in, so it was, I don't know if it was a bill or what it was something that we got that was important papers, but I didn't need this part. This is the part that translates some kind of disclosure. It translates it into a bunch of different languages, and I don't speak any of them, only the English one and a little bit of the Spanish. So I'm like, I don't need to keep this, so that's gonna go. And then I also had a birthday card that I found that was from, I don't know when, from when I was 51, because it says on here. I am going to be 67, so it's been around a while. And I have, you know, I don't need to keep that. So I think that's all I have of this stuff, but I did want to, I'll pop a couple pictures in here at the end, but one of them is, a couple of them are, both of them are to, let me start over. Okay, sorry. So I'm going to pop a couple pictures in. I don't necessarily mean two, but I'm going to pop a couple pictures in because there were people that said, can you let me know how that worked out? In particular, when I redid the medicine cabinet inside, I lined it with some shelf paper type stuff. But it's sticky. It's not contact paper, but it's maybe like contact shelf paper. I don't know, but it's sticky. And they wanted to know how did it work out. And so I have been paying attention, and everything is fine with it. It is holding up very nicely. There's just one corner up at the top that, ever since I put it in, just kind of wants to fall down. And so I decided I would just put a little piece of tape behind it, and so that's what I did. I'm really happy with it. It looks really nice. It makes me smile when I open my medicine cabinet now. The other thing was the little baths, what do you call those little, I don't know what they're called, those little puffy things that you can use like when you're taking a bath. But I didn't use it for that, and I had it for a long time. And so I was like, what am I going to do with that? And I almost decluttered it, and then I thought, I wonder if it would work for like, you know, like soft or enough to give you the scrub that you needed, but also be soft and gentle on the bathtub and the sink and stuff. And so I did use it on my bathtub, and it does work. So I actually, we were out somewhere the other day, and they had 2 for $1. And so I grabbed 2 more, and I'm going to use one in my kitchen and one in my bathroom sink. So I don't want to take them from one place to the other. I want separate ones for each place. So now I'll have one for my tub, one for my sink in the bathroom, and one for my sink in the kitchen. And if I really like it, then, you know, it's an inexpensive thing. And when they start getting grody, and you can wash them too, but if it starts getting grody or whatever, I can just go ahead and toss it and get a new one. So let me know down in the comments if you did an around the house declutter with me, or any other kind of declutter or cleaning or anything else. Even if you just sat there and drank a cup of whatever you enjoy, or maybe you had a Butterfinger. Let me know down in the comments. Until next time, happy decluttering.